And it's my pleasure to sit here in this spot where I used to be the mayor of this fine city, and so it's kind of fun to be back in this spot. But tonight we are welcoming all of you to our forum, and this forum is co-sponsored by the North Metro Mayors Association, the Twin Cities North Chamber of Commerce, and the I-35W Corridor Coalition. And our goal in sponsoring tonight's legislative candidate forum for Senate District 42 is to provide you and the rest of the citizens in our city with the opportunity to learn about the candidates' ideas and positions on issues that we believe are important to the future of our communities. And I know that they are visiting you at your homes and knocking on your doors, but sometimes that's not just enough time, so we're going to share a few of their ideas with you this evening. Unfortunately, tonight's forum will be shortened due to the withdrawal of the Senate candidate, Candy Sina, and we did not include any of the candidates from 42B because their district is east of us and does not include the Chamber or the North Metro Mayor's membership cities. But in lieu of the question and answers, Senate candidate Isaacson will have 5 minutes. And we're going to juggle that a little bit because he'd love to have questions from the audience. So if you have a question out there, we'll cut his speech down a little bit and allow you to have some questions from him. But right now he has the opportunity to introduce himself and to provide his comments.
Thank you. Hi there, my name is Jason Isaacson. I'm the state representative from 42B, and it's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much for including me and giving me a chance to share a little bit about my campaign and what I hope to do in the upcoming legislative session. The last 4 years have been a real interesting learning experience for me, and I've definitely found that I've evolved a lot as I got to know a lot of different people and had the opportunity to be of service to a lot of different groups, especially when it comes to homelessness and housing, education, and really working on the manufacturing sector of our economy as the outsourcing that we have done both on the business level and the way we have steered away from vocational education in K through 12 has really proven to be disastrous for parts of our economy, especially in rural Minnesota. So my campaign is really focused on 3 tenets. First, and perhaps for some folks most importantly, I was the only member, and I want you to think about this, of either party in either body to offer a middle-class tax cut last year. Let that sink in. The only member to offer a $500 million tax cut to the middle class. Because I figured if we're going to be talking about tax cuts, it should go back to the people that paid for it. And so as long as we have a surplus, I will continue to offer those tax cuts for the middle class. I am convinced that there is a kind of middle class donut hole that's being created that's really putting the folks that are getting in the middle class paying our bills being squeezed. The folks that have a lot of money, they're doing fine, and the folks that need some help, we have some programs for them, but we're not providing any support to the middle class, and that's something that I think we need to do more of in this state. Secondly, I'm focused on education. I want to make sure the quality is good when we're talking from graduation down, and I want to make sure access is possible when we're talking about after we graduate. More specifically, I want to make sure that we begin to value vocational education at the same level that we value a 4-year degree. We have to simply say that when a person's leaving high school, if they want to be a precision welder or a philosophy degree, we want to encourage that, want them to be successful, give them the training they need so they can go out and find a job and a career that they're proud of. Finally, my concern is when we look forward to the next session, how are we going to handle transportation? I think that's just a vital problem that has been kicked down the road now, and we really need to take a second to look at what do we have to do to create a sustainable transportation solution. For too many years, we have starved the DOT and put them in a position that they cannot win. And then we ask them to do a lot of different programming in terms of the types of roads they need to take care of, and with the 35W bridge collapsing, it changed our entire focus and became much more safety focused. And as you know, I've been championing this bridge over in Rice Street that I thought I had. I voted with Republicans on the bonding bill to get that bridge passed, and the governor vetoed it, which was made me a little bitter. But you know what? We're going to come back and we're going to try to get it next time because we need to support the people and the businesses and the employees that work in that area and give them an opportunity. I'm a father of 3. I have a 3-year-old, a 1.5-year-old, and a 1-month-old at home. I do not get very much sleep. My wife is a saint for letting me continue to run for office. It's been a wonderful opportunity. We are knocking doors. I've raised a lot of money. We've hit over 15,000 doors in Senate District 42 between our volunteers and our candidates. 15,000 doors. And I think we're going to double that by the end of this campaign, because it is our goal to reach out to every single person that we can. And what I tell folks, if you're going to vote for me, I appreciate your trust. If you're not going to vote for me, I hope you will still call on me, because my job is to represent the entirety of Senate District 42, not just the people that vote for me. And it's my job to make sure I work for you no matter what your political stripes is. So thank you for your time. I'm not going to take up too much time, and hoping that there's any questions you'd feel free to ask.
Are there any questions out there? Here comes Bob Benke.
Is my clock going now, or no? Okay.
Bob Benke on the runway here. Thank you.
On the runway.
Should the Metropolitan Council be forced to have local city representatives on the council?
Wow, we're not messing around, are we? Okay. I am open to that concept. I think that there's a lot that needs to be discussed when we're looking at the Met Council, and I'm a little wary when we talk about changing it, because unfortunately the partisan divide in St. Paul is so bitter that it creates this kind of either-or scenario where it's an all-or-nothing solution to something. Either we're going to change the Met Council completely, or we're going to leave it exactly the same. And one side will dig their heels in one way, other side dig their heels in the other way. Does the Met Council do really good things for the metro area? Absolutely it does. I make no apologies about the work that they do in helping us save money. However, are there some things we could do better, or might be better locally accountable to? I think that's a possibility. And so I'm open to that possibility, but that would take way more than I have right now to explain. So I really couldn't say for sure that I would support that yet. But I'm not opposed to it 100%.
Is there another question out there? Maybe you and I can talk about the Met Council, because that used to be one of the hot buttons when I was mayor, too. So.
Oh, let's talk some more about the Met Council, please.
Yes. Yes, Brenda.
There seems to be a lot of support for youth when they're troubled, when they're younger, and then when they're older, but you kind of miss the gap between 13 and 17 when they really need mental health and all of those issues. And the legislature seems to always go to the youth or to the young adults, but we miss that gap. What, do you have any ideas on that, or have you looked into any of that?
On a personal note, I've been involved and been given awards by the Boys and Girls Club of America, which works with youth in that range of ages. But I think that you're right that in some ways we kind of get after some of the youngest among us, and then we kind of look at people again once they're adults and dealing with jobs. And I think we need to have a more comprehensive plan that starts with looking at what can we do to help people guide through. If you're talking about, especially if you're thinking about inner city or kids that are dealing with, like you said, mental health issues, you know, I don't know that our schools are providing the support they need to be providing right now, and I think, frankly, partly because we starve them in some ways, and then partly because money is being spent in areas that aren't as positive in what we could be accomplishing. So I think that in my time, I worked for a nonprofit called The Link, and my job was to help teenage urban youth find jobs and coach them in their interview skills and help them locate where they could be applying for jobs and get them hooked up with Subway and other groups, and I would go pick them up at their home, and that kind of stuff was, you know, where I was on the ground making that kind of a difference. It's a little harder when we think we're going to legislate some of those things, because people think we're legislating into the areas of parenthood. And that becomes sticky, because I really can't tell a parent how to parent their kids. And so kind of mandating that becomes difficult. So we can provide services, and I don't know if at the high school level we're doing what we can do to help them transition into adulthood. I definitely think we're not giving them the tools they need when it comes to basic things from writing checks to understanding how money balances, and that kind of stuff. We need to do more of that.
Well, thank you very much.
You have no more? You want to grill me? I'm ready. Let's do it. No? Okay.
Is there another question out there? I would like to know, since you're switching from being a representative to running for Senate, what was the high point of your being a representative? What do you feel the best about that you accomplished?
That I accomplished. I worked.
Or that you worked on.
Well, I worked very hard on two things. One was creating a program that did customized training that brought businesses together, small businesses together, with possible employees in an education, providing that the businesses paid a little, the employees paid a little, and the state helped cover some of the education to get people tooled for manufacturing jobs. We have just a glut of manufacturing jobs we can't fill. My very first bill that I got passed, it was kind of my big bill, my campaign bill, so to speak, ended up resulting in $5 million worth of salaries for people in greater Minnesota who are looking for manufacturing jobs. And I grew up with a family. My dad owned a manufacturing company. It was a small business. I sat at the kitchen table hearing about how evil OSHA was and how frustrating, small business regulations were, and I'm very sympathetic to that. So that's one part of it. If I don't mind me sharing an anecdote, when I ran for office, I ran to be a bruiser and a street fighter. My goal was to go in there and just mix things up and fight with Republicans all the time, right? And what I learned, interesting for me, was when I got there, some of my best friends are those Republicans on the other side of the aisle. And that it isn't the partisan divide you think or you hear about in the news. So one of the greatest things that I experienced in the legislature was really understanding that there's a lot of really good people on both sides that want to do good things for Minnesota. And that when you look at how the dysfunction comes when we start talking about how the elections are paid for on both sides of the realm, both sides, and the way leadership kind of divides us up into this all or nothing kind of thing. So I'm really, that's probably one of the biggest learning points I've had, is how to work bipartisanly and get along with others.
Well, thank you.
Thank
We
you
wish
for
you
your
the
time.
best of luck.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good day.